Welcome to our May QualiWare Users Group meeting. My name is Cecile. I will be acting as host for our speakers today. We are very, very lucky to have one of our customers with us today. Samuel Benon from Canada Border Services Agency is going to talk about how they are using QualiWare for application portfolio management. So we're very, very fortunate to have Sam with us today, and I'm really looking forward to that presentation. When Sam is finished, Kirill is going to give an update on the APM module that CloseReach has been working on. So we'll hand it over to him for a few minutes, and then we'll have time at the end for the open forum and the wrap up of the meeting. For those of you who may not know Sam, which believe me, it's your loss if you don't know Sam, because Sam's a great guy to know. Sam is the team lead and primary technical lead of the Agency Collaboration Platform, or ACP team, which is what they've called QualiWare, and the lead framework architect at CBSA. Sam is here today to showcase the great success that CBSA has had in using QualiWare for their application portfolio management processes, including automating the manual effort required to report to Treasury Board.
Let's go. So welcome everybody, and thank you for attending to this presentation. The main course of today will be on how CBSA use QualiWare, like Cecile says, for the application portfolio management. I will be accompanied from the shadow by CBSA's Enterprise Application Architecture Domain Lead, Michael Nagy. Michael is responsible to the oversight of the whole APM practice, as it is part of CBSA application architecture. Saying hello to Michael. He can barge at any moment to add this grain of salt, and of course, he will be there to answer your questions at the end if I can't answer them. I tried to make this presentation hybrid, so both technical QualiWare users and executive can get value from it, but we will definitely pop the hood and feel the architecture and systems eat up close. So without further ado, let's get started. And of course, there you go. So in this presentation, I will start by explaining what were the challenges we addressed and why we decided to switch to the ACP. The structure of APM, I will explain the building blocks or templates created for APM and the relationship between them. Core architecture transition, I will explain the vision of integrating the practice in our core architecture. I'll follow with the workflow and access of APM. I will go over the governance workflow engine behavior that allows us to keep track and control access of the whole APM practice. An ACP demo will be given to confirm that what I say is real. Then after that, I will explain sending APM data to the Treasury Board Secretariat. It's very time consuming and can be a challenge. I will show you how CBSA is handling it, followed by a glimpse in the future for APM on our platform. I will conclude with a final quick overview and answer your questions, and I am open for any discussions. So first, let's talk about the past and numbers so we all feel the pain. CBSA numbers. CBSA has a massive amount of applications, and filling their data in the context of the APM practice is extremely time-consuming. With 228 applications currently active and requiring an APM assessment that ask for around 230 data elements, we are talking about 52,000 potential data entry. All that total needs to fit into one wonderful Excel spreadsheet. We can't pass along one Excel spreadsheet across 11 branches. We needed to make copy for all branches, and they made copy to their directorate, that copied them to their division. So yeah, we are totally buried in Excel spreadsheet there. Sorry for bashing a bit on the past. So the overall major issues were like finding the application business owner and service managers. All those spreadsheets were filtered to hold only the stakeholder relevant applications. But every year was a pure chaos due to reorgs and arguing that it was not their application. Data quality and data structure were also problematic. Quality because we had no control nor visibility on who was answering the questions. And data format because uncontrolled Excel spreadsheet can have wonders hiding in them, like those space character before the answer, making TBS system to go, ooh, what's that? And it was like refusing the data loader or part of it. So we had to try to find them inside of our big Excel spreadsheet. Was pure chaos. Coordination, because merging an astronomical amount of spreadsheets coming from all over the agency is definitely something very painful to coordinate for the APM administrator. The last employee who did this coordination accepted that I share a picture. Yeah, there you go. All that to say, we needed a system that could handle the practice and even add more value. So after a very dark and negative slide, this is where the agency collaboration platform or QualiWare comes into play. Oh, thank you, generic stock picture. Using QualiWare to manage APM gives clear visibility across mission critical application. CBSA now has a consolidated view of applications supporting all main functions area. Border management such as traveler processing, commercial trade, science and engineering, border enforcement, criminal investigation, detention, removal of threats, internal services like financial management, legal service, HR, and more. The architecture framework allows us to map the application to the business, all that inside one structured system that allows us to do impact analysis, accessible by everyone who's employed at the Canada Border Services Agency. Better support for Treasury Board reporting and enterprise oversight. The system provides a structured way to collect, validate, report application portfolio information for TBS and internal executive oversight, helping CBSA respond more efficiently to reporting requests, investment planning, modernization review, and government-wide IT portfolio exercise. Better modernization and legacy system planning, APM in QualiWare helps identifying aging, high risk, or hard to support applications, allowing CBSA to prioritize modernization based on operational criticality, technical health, security risk, and business value. This is all in the APM, I'll show you. Reduce cost and application duplication since the system handle agency-wide information, breaking silos between our main line of businesses. It helps CBSA identifying overlapping systems, duplicated capabilities, underused application, and similar tools used across different branches, creating opportunity to consolidate, rationalize, and reduce unnecessary spending. No more and less never up-to-date spreadsheets. Well, it's kind of my first point, right? Instead of managing application inventories through disconnected spreadsheet, one for each 55 directorate, for example, APM and QualiWare provides CBSA with a governed, centralized, and yearly updated application portfolio with clear ownership, lifecycle status, dependencies, cost, and business alignment. I will stop the bullet points there and show you guys how we structure the platform to provide all these points and more. I am sure you will see the value and potential. First, we need to understand the basic structure behind our application portfolio management. The most important element is the application component. Here, our enterprise application architect is responsible to keep the inventory and the structure of all applications at the agency. This is how we can determine which application must have an APM assessment and their information sent to the Treasury Board Secretariat. It is part of our core architecture and directly or indirectly connect to both technology and business layer. The APM assessment is the object that is attached to our application component. We can see it as an add-on to the application component to provide more information and, of course, the assessment over the application. The assessment goes over multiple aspects to provide scores or indicators. All these scoring are used to calculate the final indicator, the time assessment, that stands for tolerate, innovate, migrate, and eliminate. To get the value of these scoring, well, we need data. Those data elements are in two different templates shown here that are reused multiple times in the APM assessment. This is where the CBSA's framework can get a bit complicated. We could only use one APM additional data to all the data elements required and one APM sub-assessment for all scoring. But how could we control access and views. You don't want to have to search for your data between 200-ish data elements, and certainly don't want somebody else editing your stuff after you completed your task. Also, QualiWare doesn't allow two users at the same time editing an object. You don't want people waiting in line to edit something during the practice, especially those who are very late in the practice. It needs to be done and be quick. They must not wait for someone to finish his work first. This is why we created buckets for every role or IT areas, splitting the data between those buckets so only specific data element can be edited with control access and can have different workflow state. We separated the whole APM in 8 additional data and 15 sub-assessments. Let me elaborate more on that structure. We can see in this slide a screenshot of the agency collaboration platform additional data section. I selected a random application in our repository. On the leftmost column, we have our famous buckets I was just talking about, the IT areas that they are related to. Using the governance workflow engine in QualiWare and Rasky, we were able to drive access and workflow transition right to a role-based methodology. This allowed the APM administrator to manage responsibility horizontally when we couldn't. We can see a good example on the first 6 rows here on the second column. These roles are assigned to every APM additional data related to their field of practice. This way, if Jason changed department and is replaced by Stephanie in the IT continuity team, well, the APM administrator only has to change the role, so one object in all the repository. And all 228 objects, APM assessment related, update themselves because they all relate to the same role. A bit more fraction is the service portfolio section here. We had to separate all applications by their portfolios, but the idea is the same. You change who is in the corporate portfolio manager role, and it will change for all corporate portfolio apps. And there's me at the bottom, unique to the application. So my person object, synchronized from our Active Directory, like all persons object in our platform, is assigned directly to the technical lead additional data object. At the rightmost column, we have our governance state that shows the status of each additional data. This is defined by QualiWare's governance workflow engine. This is a very technical aspect of our system, but also important to for those who manage the APM practice, and a real helper for those who has task over it. We can compare it as the machine that drives the building block shown before. There are 3 different elements in this slide that drives how we manage APM workflow. The governance state. Here, the governance role that the states belongs to, so this is what goes around it, and the transition between the states. If we take the development state as an example, I should rename that one into work in progress, make more sense. The state is managed by the CBSA APM editor role that is assigned to the accountable, responsible, and support people of the APM assessment. Within the state, we allow edit capabilities and mark it as shown in people to-do lists. I will show you that in my demonstration. The available transition from the states to others have special condition in action. The condition to be able to transit from that state to other state. Requiring all additional data and sub-assessment object to be in the finished state. So you cannot transit the whole APM assessment to the next state if all the sub-assessment and additional data within are not finished. It will be impossible to do it. When we transit, the multiple fields requiring data from additional data and sub-assessments objects will update themselves with a C# code to update the score indicator and the famous time assessment. We can see here that the accountable QA is there to ensure that only the accountable person for the APM assessment moves it to the next state, ensuring that a certain level of control, preventing a student from saying, yep, all done and looks good. All the in-between state in yellow are more for control and progress tracking. When we finally move the APM assessment to approve, right here, we bring out additional data and sub-assessment to our base configuration that hosts approved content. This allows APM people to edit certain value without directly impacting the area important stakeholders who can use the data to make decisions. Right? Imagine someone erasing a total cost because they are working on it. Oh, I'm erasing that. This is last year data. And then an executive goes in and says, oh, this application is free. Yeah, it should not happen. This is why we have the work in progress environment to do that. Before I go to my live demonstration, I want to bring a point in case you accuse me of lying when I said everything is in our APM templates. One major positive point of handling APM into the architecture system is the potential of using the core architecture. As an example, recently, CBSA included the organization structure inside its architecture. The main goal was to implement an accountability framework with the purpose to know who is accountable for our programs, business service, and, yes, applications. This is giving precious information, such as impact over a reorg, and we can now provide a full report to our executive to allow them to reassign impacted accountabilities. Large organization people, yep, take notes. I will give a glimpse of that traceability during the demo as a bonus architecture. This means that on top of report capabilities within our system, we also steal 2 APM fields that do not have to be maintained during our yearly task, as these fields are now maintained by our day-to-day operations, like reassigning accountability after a reorg. We all agree that we should not wait until the yearly APM practice to reassign accountability over something. As we will mature and expand architecture, we will be able to maintain other APM data within our core architecture. Another example would be the technology layer. It's still a work in progress for us, but lots of information will be moved there, allowing the CBSA to do better impact analysis while giving valuable mandatory information to TBS. 2 birds with 1 stone. I can also ricochet that stone to another bird, saying that AI will need structured data to provide valuable information. This is exactly what we are building, is executive side note. So let's dive into the platform for a little demonstration. Here I am on the main page of the ACP. I will not explain too much on that one. I will dive right into the IT asset world, where I can find my IT asset. I can, for example, look for my application in there, look at the acronyms. The digital product directory is like portfolios and bundles to put our application in. We have our IT asset catalog in there. National. Oops, I'm hearing myself. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. There was some echo, but it's gone now.
Okay. The national APM tile here that shows the APM result, current, the extract, the Excel extract, so everybody can extract that that data, and also APM previous years that are also extracted, so they are inside of our file system at CBSA. Local and regional APM, this is separated, but we are doing application portfolio management for our local and regional application only that Treasury Board doesn't want to know any of. Other assessment, active and adaptive technology can be there, and the active APM assessment. So this in that tile, we have almost everything we need to manage the practice. So we have the active APM assessment. So if I click on that link, I will see only active APM assessments. So we know at large what's left to be done. At the moment, I just enable the demo application to be active, but during the APM practice, there are way more than that in there. If I go to my sub-assessments, this is where the governance workflow engine takes a bit of power in there because it's looking at my responsibility and my only. So if I go there, I see that I've got the finance additional data and technical lead additional data in there. If I go back, I've got my sub-assessment in there, so I can see that I'm responsible for the architecture sub-assessment in my APM. If I go inside my demo application, so if I go in my active APM assessment and go in my demo application, oh yeah, and I want before that, I want to show you guys the APM progress tracking. This is for administrator that needs to be on top of the whole practice. So we can see here, this is the progress tracking of the 454 items in there. So I know everything I have. I know who is responsible for those. And if I want, I can always filter to only see things that are in the development state, so I know what's left to be done in there. So here's my famous finance and technical lead and architecture. So for an oversight perspective, this is very powerful because you know who is responsible, you know who to contact, and you know what's up during the practice, which is massive. If I go inside my demo application APM assessment, I've got a nice dashboard view that consolidate all within this application context. We have here the description that mostly comes from the application component information that we bring into the APM assessment view to give the APM assessor like more information on top here. APM summary information. So this is the score and indicators I was talking about. Also the business owner now that is directly mapped into one of our organization unit. At the moment, I'm showing an inactive organization unit, totally disconnected from our organization. So there's no parent, no sub-organization within that or that organization, but we can see here that we have a responsible position, the Director General or Borders Technology and Innovation Directorate, and the position holder. So I went and do a little trace to know who is inside that position. So I put a suit on to match that today. But also, I want to show you guys direct responsibility. This is what I was talking about, like traceability within the core architecture, is we can now show direct responsibility. Application business owner of demo application, yes, but I can also put other roles as a bonus in there. So impact analysis of your role and responsibility if you are about to remove Border Technology Innovation Directorate, well, you are able to use that data to reassign responsibility within. So it's very powerful, but here application business owner is what we were looking for. So we are showing it there. So the APM data that holds the business owner, the person can look into that and confirm if it's really the business owner. Down there, we have additional data and sub-assessment. So within those buckets, and I will give you an example of the behavior. Currently, if we are going up there at the governance workflow, since I am the accountable of the APM assessment itself, I can always edit the APM assessment. So in the end, I could enter it and I was seeing my score, but all the scoring was read-only because they are being entered with C# code when I will do my transition that I will show you. You can see here that I don't have any transition power. I can only edit, I can force access, so I can fire up the C# code to do my assessment and change the scoring here. But without transition, I can say I finished my task. The reason is because my governance state for my additional data and sub-assessment are not all in the finished section. So if I open my technical lead, and I hope this one will work, here I've got the information structured in the TBS way. If I want to edit it, please work. Good. I've got a nice edit dialog for users to go in and do and modify the information in there. I can also add a question mark to the question. So we can add a layer of help to our users to define what is inside the field. And also we have the RAS key, so I cannot change who is accountable for this, but I can change who is responsible if you're not me, or adding supportive people in there for that specific object. Once I'm happy, I can hit OK. And here I can, wow, I can say I'm finished. So it will not refresh automatically. I will need to refresh the page, but here the technical lead is finished. If I want to go in finance and say, oh my God, no, it's not $3,322, I can go in there and edit this dialogue here and say, oh, it's way more than that. It's a lot of money. So I can say, okay, I'm done and I am finished. Strange for that governance workflow behavior in my iframe. Who knows? Take note. And then the only one that is left is the architecture sub-assessment. So how we manage the sub-assessment is we have a very simple window here that we can put the score and adjustment. Those score and adjustment are defined with guides that we created. So I will bring one here as an example. So in the scoring, we have the scoring here, and we have the guides to define which bucket technically your application resides. Then I can say, oh, they're closing this, so I can see the score is +5. Then I can put my rationale in there for everybody to see in there. I can also add supporting information so the next time someone will do an architecture review, we can see supporting information. But here I put the rationale from the guide right there for all to see. I'll discard the change. So I'm happy with the scoring. I can say it's finished. And now we'll just update this. I will just try and knit it one more time, just in case. There you go. So yeah, we can put some departmental notes here for that specific APM assessment. The summary here, what I was telling you guys, the score are all read-only because it's calculated automatically. But the retirement plan here, for example, I can put it, I can say it's plan and the retirement date, the application analysis strategy with, again, some help, the people, recommendation, target date. I can do it all there and modify the RAS key. And now what we see at the top right corner here is my governance workflow being updated. Now that everything is finished, I can now send it to accountable QA. We can see in the exclamation mark that should technically be available at all time. Take notes. That I'm currently in the development state, and here's my transition that are available. So I will say that.
Sam, really quick question as you're going through this. One of the people on the call wanted to know, do you use revisions to keep year-over-year data, or are you overwriting?
Yes, we are using revisions. QualiWare really struggle with getting old revision data. It's not really the best tool to do that. We are using this more in a Power BI report. So the answer is yes, just in case you want to see what we put back there, but everything is technically in an extracted spreadsheet.
Okay, but so you are keeping your previous year's data, just in okay, I understand.
I will share here once it's in the approved content. Once we go into the base configuration, the only way to get back to the development environment is to create a new revision as it is locked and approved at this point. So yes, we are using revisions. So yeah, and at this point, I can just send it to accountable QA, and it will move from one state to the other until it reach the approved content. So since I'm the APM accountable, I can just move it. I will not show it because it's not that relevant, and you guys will not see anything. It will just flash. So now that this is done, I will go back to my IT asset desktop, but in the base configuration, so where the approved content is. I have the APM result here that I will give you a glimpse of what it looks like. I hid my application name just in case I'm sharing protected information. But here's like a view of all our scoring and the time assessment here and other important information, all that in one query in our platform. I can also show you the APM portfolio report, so a Power BI report for all our data. So if I go here, my Power BI report, this is where I'm using a yearly information. So if I look at portfolio trend, then I can look at yearly active apps, health of application, criticality, total support cost by year, and I can have a lot more information that I would not share just in case I'm sharing protected information. This one I know it is not protected, but I will not go over my full Power BI report, but just to let you know, guys, that it is possible to extract the data and play with it. The important point I wanted to show you guys is that we structure the edit access and content, so it's easy to create that Power BI.
So Sam, on that screen that you're showing, you've got year 2019 to 2025 with what looks like a sliding scale. Does that mean that you can change the dates that you're showing?
Yes, if I want to know what happened between 2020 and 2022, this is what happened.
Right.
And
okay.
So
and this is Power BI in QualiWare.
Yes, you can see here it's my interface. Power BI is integrated into it. I preloaded the Power BI, but in the end is here in the APM portfolio report. If I click on it, I will open my Power BI. So it is inside of a tile, but we are staying within the platform here.
Okay, thank you.
I can also show you like a real life example with the agency collaboration application component. With QualiWare, the beauty is we can bring information to traceability. So here at the agency collaboration platform application component, I have my main information for my application component, my description. You can see all my potential role assignments. So the application business owner is currently digital strategy and architecture directorate. Here we have a real life situation, right? It's something real. We have the parent organization, all the sub-organization from the digital strategy and architecture directorate. And I can see also the direct responsibility of the directorate if it's loading. So this directorate is the application business owner of all these applications. So we are in information science and technology. So yeah, the ownership is mostly application related. But I can see here the APM additional data. So the same additional data we found in the APM is being brought up there. So when someone is in our platform consuming application component information, the APM additional data are being brought right there for consumption. So they can consume that level of information without moving inside of the platform too much. I can see here impacted business processes. So we are now going into the process so we can identify if the agency collaboration platform goes down, for example. These are the impacted business processes and more link and even the APM assessment result only for the agency collaboration platform is being brought there. And yeah, I can show you guys the APM assessment window here so we can see the additional data sub-assessments. So I will go back to my presentation because it is not over. I hope you're liking it because a few more slides. Data transfer to the Treasury Board Secretariat. The application portfolio management is a TBS-led practice for all Government of Canada departments. This forces all departments to send their data into TBS systems that currently runs on Clarity. There's two options to send the data in the system. We can enter the data directly into the system. Again, we're talking about up to 52,000 entries. The other option is to send a pre-filled Excel spreadsheet given by Treasury Board, also called the data loader. Which one CBSA chose? Well, you all guessed right. Excel is back, but only for the very last part. But how CBSA extracts the data from the ACP to generate the data loader? Two options are available in our environment. The first option is to extract the data using a query result view. The export to Excel button is available for those. But the loading time and navigation between three different heavily filtered queries and handling the export was taking too much time. Still doable and available if nobody in the ACP team is around. But the second option, the one we use, is to generate a set of Excel files using QCL code. The direct output function allows us to generate CSV files. We then merge the three files into one spreadsheet using a macro, and then it gives us the data loader. This is currently run a few times a year since our practice is still happening in a yearly manner, but it gives us the ability to run the QCL code daily to update the spreadsheets if required. What is next, right? As we continue to evolve and expand our framework to provide better services, architecture is moving towards reacting with change instead of a big bang approach, focusing only on applications that were affected by any kind of initiative. We can see here that an initiative affects an application, then it will trigger the APM reviews. This will drastically reduce the amount of work that, and we will open an APM assessment only when needed. Well, goodbye 228 APM questionnaire. Outside of the architecture framework, we can also evolve at the interface aspect. We are currently installing QualiWare 10.10 and will be able to provide new features for stakeholders, such as desktop focused on APM, better Power BI integration, more intuitive navigation, and more. We can provide better APM administrator tools to manage practice, such as report, emails, notification, catalogs for role management, and more. We could create a one-stop shop edit access using spreadsheet control that uses the MyTile behavior that I showed you in the demo, showing only the APM elements that are open and assigned to you. This could prevent our users to jump back and forth between objects in our platform, like I did, and handle the data entry in a control spreadsheet. This is an idea. We need to explore it. The way CBS's architecture framework is built using an architecture tool allows us to expand and evolve in an agile way to provide better services, bringing more value to the agency. We can associate that to a snowball effect, increasing the value as we roll. As a final overview, quick recap on integrating the APM practice within the architecture tool. The APM administrator gain from the system easier role access management, active progress reporting via governance workflow engine, trustable data format from our control data entry, fast data extraction from code that can be run every day, even during the night. The APM users gain a one-stop shop for editing content, a manageable workload, and progress tracking tailored to themselves. Extended value from core architecture, just knowing who's who in the zoo is a huge time saver. The APM stakeholders, executive, employees, student, everyone, gain from the system, Power BI reporting from trusted source, one-stop shop from consuming application content, and more. For CBSA, it was a no-brainer to move APM in the agency collaboration platform since we already had the environment ready to welcome the practice, and the architecture division was responsible for the practice. I don't have any fixed value on savings since it is almost impossible to calculate. I can say migrating APM to ACP is saving CBSA $200,000 per year with all the added value I just showed you. But I trust that most of you that attended to this presentation saw that the value outweighed the cost and maybe future potential to expand your own architecture framework. Thank you. Any question?
Thank you, Sam. Questions from
Sam? Sorry. Sam, I have a question.
Yep.
So you've extended the use of the QualiWare product to include actual operational data, your organization charts, programs, services, things like that, that may not normally be included in an EA application. You pulled financial information as well, or no? Not yet.
Financial information are kind of separated from the practice. Yes, we put the final number inside the application support cost, but CBSA needs to handle that aspect aside to deal with our financial system to get the real value of it. So Michael Nagy can explain a bit more if you want more detail on that specific practice, but this practice is not inside the architecture system.
So there's other sources of truth you're pulling information from into this, though.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a few questions. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Sam, for the very informative presentation. Gaetan actually put a question into the chat, so I'm going to start with him. He says, great presentation. Questions, customized or configured? And if customized, who did the work, internal or external resources?
For that specific work, and due to the maturity of my team, myself included in there, we had to bring a consultant into the play that knew QualiWare from top to bottom. Barry Acorn, I can say the name. So we worked with him to build the whole APM practice back in 2021.
Okay, thank you. Gaetan, if you're interested, there are some things that are like, there's quite a lot that's available out of the box as configuration, so we can follow up with you to discuss that further. If you want, we can reach out to you after the meeting to talk about that, because there's quite a lot that's available.
I must add that the structure itself required a consultant. If you have somebody that understands the principle of everything I just showed you, you can have a QualiWare team that builds it for you. You don't need like an expert consultant. Depends on the amount of knowledge you have on the platform.
Thank you. Gaetan, if you have any follow-up, just go ahead and you can put it in the chat, or you can take yourself off mute.
No, I don't at this time, but thank you. It's quite interesting to see that what you've done with this.
Okay, thank you. And Kirill is going to show a little bit about some updates on this when we're finished the questions. Brenda, I think you were next.
Hi, Samuel. Great presentation, by the way. Interesting. Just a little bit of measures of success. I know that your Power BI charts showed some costs, application costs. So I was wondering if you had any numbers or percentages in terms of application spend. I think that was part of Kevin's question, but also the number of applications. I think you had on your presentation, you had 228. Was that to start?
Repeat the question. You mean the start of the data set we have?
Yes. Yeah, I guess
how many
what you were
applications
sharing.
So,
yeah,
the Treasury Board were changing a lot their data sets, and I think we really started like gathering the information and structured ourselves back in 2019. Before that, it was more like sending data to Clarity, and they restructured the whole thing. Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, like back in 2019, I guess. Yeah.
I'll actually add to that. Part of your question was about the financial data.
Yeah.
Yes, QualiWare. We use the QualiWare to store the final dollar figure, the sum, the total. However, on the back end, we cheat. We use spreadsheets to collect the financial data. The reason being that, I hate to say it, QualiWare just isn't as nimble as we'd like to collect numbers. And this way, spreadsheets, all the accountants and all the number crunchers in our organization know how to use it, and they can put in their numbers. We, on the back end, once they're done with their individual spreadsheets, we actually generate about 54 spreadsheets, one for each division within our org. They enter their numbers. We consolidate them all together. We spit out a single dollar figure per application, but we also have all the breakdown per application, per division, their dollar spend on applications, which we then put that raw spreadsheet, that raw consolidated sheet into a different Power BI to let people mine the information about dollar spends on applications. So it's separate from the ACP, not because for any other reason than numbers are easier in spreadsheets.
Gotcha. Okay, good to know. Thanks for the explanation. I appreciate it.
Gary.
Thanks for the presentation, Samuel. It's really good. It's obviously you have a very mature practice related to APM. So when it comes to Treasury Board, there's certain values that are prescribed, like let's say a ranking low, medium, high. Other things are freeform, like software systems, databases, your nodes, like the servers. But an organization does have definitive values. So when you earlier mentioned like upping data quality, do you force people down the road to select the values that are known within the organization, even though Treasury Board, of course, has to say it's a free-form field because they have no idea what we have for values?
I'll answer that actually. Okay. So on the back end, we provide a guide to the assessors for those qualities where they're asking for like a rating of 1 to 5, etc. We pre-populate some guesses for them. So if they're talking about server name or server types or development languages and things like that, we will pre-classify with our IT4s to say, well, these things are a 5, these things are 4, these things are 3, and these things are a 0, like or a bad 1, so that the assessors can say that, yep, my application is using this, it's good. And my application is using that, it's bad. The reason being that everybody thinks their technology is great, but it's a question of, from an organizational standpoint, is it supportable, maintainable, and desirable within our organization? And I hate to say it, it has nothing to do with Treasury Board, what they think is supportable. It's what we think is supportable for us as an agency. So therefore, our scale is different from their scale. It's just simply, do we rank it as good or bad?
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. We have a question from Gerald. He's asking if you track AI model usage.
Not yet.
Okay. Is that something that you're planning?
We have a few different technologies which we are looking to, I'll say technologies, but platforms that we're looking to track within the agency. So things like Power Platform or AI usage, or they're basically the platforms that other things can be built on. Right now, we don't really track them quite as well as we should and could. We are looking to implement that a little bit better so that we can answer questions internally of, okay, how many systems are running on Power Platform, and really easily answer those questions. Right now, we can answer it, but it's a convoluted process. We want those data points to be front and center, and things like AI use and not scripting, but what's it called? I can't remember, but some technologies that are in use that should be more central data points as opposed to just a questionnaire.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Kuno, you had your hand up.
Yeah, it's because I just wanted to mention that EU has just introduced what they call an AI Act, where basically you are requested to document a lot of your AI usage, and every object now in the latest release here has a sub-tab where it says, what AI has been used by this particular system or is in use by this particular system. And even if you use QualiWare to generate stuff, it will also record that this object in QualiWare was generated through an AI. So there's set of regulations in the EU. It may not be the same in Canada, of course, but it allows you to document stuff that is relevant for you on AI usage. And by the way, Sam, really great presentation. I had one question for you. You mentioned that you had a little bit of a challenge with the revision management. Could you, I'm not trying to get you to talk about something that is not valuable to you, but it's really important, because I think we've done a lot of work to make sure that configuration, revision, and language management is managed in a safe format in QLM, or in QualiWare. So could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Maybe it's by laziness. We didn't go too far into trying to go inside previous revisions. A revision can be created by, oh my God, like something happened and now I've got a typo in there. I absolutely want it to be back, and then you create a new revision. So you don't have the same revision. You have 2 new revisions for that year. So how can I tell the system, oh, I need to get to, like, I needed to put the yearly number in there in that revision to get and be able to fetch that revision and that data.
Do you use configurations? Use configurations?
Yes, we have 2 configurations: the base configuration and a work in progress. So we go in work and send to the base, create a new revision. And technically, revisions are just overlapping the old revisions, and we can always go back in time in case something happened, but we rarely go there. It's mostly current state.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that IBM, they make 2 configurations per year, one in March, one in September. That means that they can basically roll back 10 years, see what did the EA look like back then, and it automatically, when you create a new configuration, everything from the old configuration will be frozen. So you will have to create new revision for everything you do. But on the other hand, that will also make sure that you have sort of the different configurations representing different years or different releases or whatever. So there's a lot of stuff in there that you can do. Yeah. Let me know if
it's a good idea.
Yeah.
James, you had your hand up, and then I have get back to a question from Gaetan.
Yeah, it's also to expand on this concept of working with revisions and configurations. I think our challenge was to fully understand what a frozen configuration would entail. Since everything's residing in one particular repository, we have a one base configuration. So this is more of a deeper dive into the technical understanding of how to leverage that, because we do need that snapshot point in time. What was sent to Treasury Board for this particular year for us was technically easier to create that snapshot outside, save it in a Excel spreadsheet or whatnot, and then use Power BI to review those snapshots rather than keep them in the system, because there's also name changes sometimes application. There's a lot of other factors that impacts it. So I guess it's efficiency versus using features and all of that combined. Yeah. Just wanted to expand on some of the rationale behind why we proceeded with just having revision while work in progress, and then snapshot to the base once we're done with the submission to the Treasury Board.
Thanks, James. Sam, Gaetan is asking, he said, Treasury Board's changing their data upload this summer. How much work will it be to match the new format, especially not knowing what it will be as of now?
Well, the final sentence reflects my answer. If they are simply changing, for example, the data loader, the structure of the data loader, I just need to change the structure of my code and extract, or QRVs used to do those extracts. But yeah, if I don't know, will they only allow API to connect or whatever? I will react to that when it'll come.
I'll add a little bit to that. From what I know, they're going to be running concurrently the old system and the new system for a while, I've been told. So that might save us a bit of time or a bit of an overlap. Yes, the API submission is a good thing for us. It might open up it might ease a few things, even though there's a bit of a mapping or a configuration at the beginning. The biggest thing, as Sam was saying, is if they change the questionnaire, and I believe they are, internally, they're changing things, not just the order of questions, but they're changing the way they're asking certain things. So yes, on our back end, we are going to have to, I won't say redesign, but make some adjustments to the questionnaires and data points that we're collecting and submit them accordingly. So like Sam said, we can't judge the scope of it because we don't have the actual requirements yet.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you very much. Got a couple of more minutes here just to give you a quick update on some things that CloseReach is doing with the APM module that you guys might be interested in. And my colleague, Carol, is going to talk about that now.
Thank you, Cecilia. So just building on that great presentation that Samuel did, we thought it would be a perfect segue to provide you guys a quick update on the CloseReach / CBSA APM update. So we had received a copy of the CBSA meta model, and we initially reviewed and analyzed what's essentially behind the machine that Michael and Sam and our consultant, the rest of the folks there at CBSA have really built there. It was interesting to get the analysis going, initial review of that CBSA module. So now we are prepared to provide you guys with a little bit more assistance and work with GC departments to implement the APM module that CBSA has established and being able to localize and implement it into other GC departments and environments. So because of that, next slide, please, Cecilia.
Whoops,
we have
wrong next slide.
A little bit
there
too
you go.
far. So we've created a two-pager, and the two-pager really highlights some of the aspects about that APM meta model that CBSA have built. There's information about the executive summary, what has been built, some of the primary templates that we've reviewed, number of templates and the attributes require that we have seen there. Now, there's a little bit of a discrepancy, Sam. I remember you put down 230 TBS attributes or data points. We've identified specifically those that you guys have customized. There was about 141. I'll have to double check the data between you and Michael, but essentially there has been at least 141 GC specific templates that we found within 4 different APM templates. And it's really go beyond that vanilla APM that we found out there. I mean, there is right now, you guys are using application components and then APM assessments, sub-assessments, APM additional data. So we really did a little bit of the initial analysis and review there to understand what are we dealing with there. So if any of the report, yeah,
yeah,
sure.
To add to that is the sub-assessment, the template was created, and then we created some type of sub-assessment. So while you're seeing only 4 attributes, there's 15 times 4 of those attributes that are different fields, but in the back end, they are only 4 fields, for example.
Right, very good point. So plenty of work has been done. We did the initial review. We are able to share with you folks that 2-pager. If you need to review what exactly consists of the CBSA module and essentially how deep is the rabbit hole in regards to the APM module that CBSA have created. That allowed us also, next slide, please. We've briefly have updated the HTML dashboard or desktop to the new 1010 UI. So we've used some of the list items to bring it down to the 1010 GUI and essentially clears up a little bit of a real estate space there, allowing you to play and add more visuals, analytics in 1010 and so on and so forth. So we've done a little bit of the initial translation there. That also would allow us to work with the departments in the system with adding some things in 1010 that probably CBSA considering as well, and that would include surveys. That would include new visuals and analytics that we have in 1010s right now. There's a lot of slice and dice pie charts and query hybrids right now available in 1010 that's really helping you to make up a decision about your portfolio right over there. We also would allow you guys and assist you guys with connection of that APM module with the other practices like project portfolio management, as well as AI governance. So I know that somebody mentioned about the AI model usage or AI usage. We've in the past showcased an AI governance module that we've built. We would be able to establish that connection between the EPM as well as AI governance and work with departments on localizing that particular module. Last but not least, last slide. Just want to quickly summarize, folks. So now we are a little bit more capable to support GC departments and their APM journey as far as a GC or / CBSA module. If any of you folks have received a copy of that or essentially would like to build the APM practice based on some things that you've seen that Sam was showcasing, we're able to help you folks with localization, integration, Power BI, DevOps, you name it, and then implementation. We are talking about going beyond 10.9 version and essentially getting those the best brand new kind of features implemented into that module. So thank you so much. And thank you, Sam, for building and showcasing us that content.
Thank you, Carol. Appreciate it. Okay. Thank you, Sam. Awesome presentation. Our next meeting, based on the polling, it was 4% difference, 52% for 1 p.m., 48% for 2 p.m. So the 1 p.m.ers won. So the next meeting will be June 22nd from 1 to 3. It will be an open house, but there will be a link for those of you who want to join remotely. But we do encourage you to come to our open house. We have fun there. People who have been there before are on this call and can attest to the fact that we actually have fun at the open house. It's not just all QualiWare all the time. There's also fun involved. So I'll just put that out there as an advertisement. We're hoping to have some department updates. I've got Global Affairs lined up. I have ESDC lined up. Hopefully others that I might be able to strong arm. Some of you may be on this call just to talk a little bit about what you've been working on and what you have planned to work on for the rest of the fiscal year as it regards to QualiWare and your EA practice. And as we mentioned earlier, Kuno will be joining us to talk about some planned product enhancements related to AI and some of the other platform related things. Kuno, did I get that right?
Absolutely. We talk about AI and we do something about it all the time. I mean, we started out really early. Even Gartner recognized that we were the first tool to actually embed AI. But I think we've all sort of seen the situation where you ask an AI, you ask Claude something, and can you do blah blah blah, and it will come back, hey Kuno, that's a great question, and then it will get you 20 pages of text, and that's really great. If I were to write 20 pages of text, it would have taken me a long time. But if you read the text, it may not be actually what you were looking for. So we are architecting in QualiWare the way that you generate and share knowledge in your organization using AI. And that's something I'd really like to talk to you about next time.
Okay, thank you. That's great. Appreciate it. That's it, everybody, for the meeting, unless there's other questions, topics of conversation. Appreciate you guys all joining us and enjoy the now in Ottawa sunny afternoon instead of the rainy, cloudy morning that we had that started the day. I've got things in the chat.
Sorry, Cecile, it's me just giving more information.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, so you saw Oscar's question, and okay, you sent a note back to him. Okay, that's great. Okay, if anybody has questions about what you've seen today, you don't know how to get in touch with somebody, reach out to myself or Kevin or Kirill. We can help with putting you in touch with each other, providing additional, the 2-pager that Kirill mentioned, if you want a copy of that. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you in a few weeks for our next meeting.